Welcome back to another class on Evean Hazaer Halacha series. We are beginning a new Petchit Teshuvah today in Ot Tetvav. He's going to throw us immediately into Ot Chav Aleph in the Berheitev. We're going to have to do it Bilineder. Also pretty long Berheitev. This will be part 12, and we're going to continue like that, 12a, 12b, 12c, until we finish the Berheitev with the Petchit Teshuvah. We are in Siman Aleph in Halacha Yud. We're going to go back to the beginning of the Halacha. If you guys recall that there was a very big machloket between the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramah, if the CHEREM of Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable on a ARUSA. So the Halacha stated in the beginning, in Siman Aleph and Halacha Yud, Rabbeinu Gershom hechrim al hanoseh al ishto. Rabbeinu Gershom, he made a CHEREM on taking another wife on his married wife. According to the Shulchan Aruch, when is the CHEREM of Rabbeinu Gershom applicable? When a guy is going to marry a woman and his wife. That means she has to be his wife fully. However, continues the Shulchan Aruch, and the Shulchan Aruch says, Aval b'yivama. However, when you're dealing with a yivama, I'll explain what that means, even though we did it already. Lo hichrim. He didn't make a CHEREM on a yivama. V'chen, and so too be'arusa, and so too when you're dealing with an arusa, the CHEREM of Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable. So therefore, the arus is going to be able to go ahead and get another wife while he's with an arusa, according to the Shulchan Aruch. We saw it came to Ramah. The Ramah said, one second, when is that? Im einu rotzeh liknos elo liftor. That specifically if he doesn't want to marry her, but he wants to divorce her, then we're going to say the CHEREM of Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable. But if he doesn't want to divorce her from the mashma'ut, from the way we understood the words of the Ramah, it's implied that the CHEREM of Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable. Now, Rabotai, we're going to go back and forth. Again, this piece, when we did it then, I told you it's going to go back and forth in what the Ramah meant, and so on and so forth, and how to explain when the Shulchan Aruch says v'chen ba'arusa. Again, we'll go step at a time, we'll go one by one. I just want to first begin with, let's define what a yivama is, let's define what a arusa is, and from there on we'll move forward. First we'll begin with a yivama. What's a yivama? Reuven is married to Sarah. Reuven has a brother by the name of Shimon. I should write brother. If you guys ever get a chance to do a Gimor Masechet Yivamot, Rabotai, make sure you write every single case down, because it does get complicated. Reuven is married to Sarah. He has a brother by the name of Shimon, who's married to Leah. Reuven, I put an X over here in red. Reuven dies. All right, now that you guys see it, I'll put it like this. Reuven dies. Sarah is a widow, but she is a yivama. Now she falls on her husband's brother, which is Shimon. Over here, in this case, comes the Shulchan Aruch and he tells you the CHEREM of Rabbeinu Gershom was never applied on such a woman, on a yivama. That means Shimon is able to marry Sarah, even though he has a wife by the name of Leah. So comes out here, Shimon is going to have two wives. Oh, what happened to the CHEREM of Rabbeinu Gershom? Not applicable. The CHEREM of Rabbeinu Gershom is speaking about a normal situation where a person goes ahead and he wants to marry a girl on his original wife. So he's going to have two wives. Or he's not going out of his way to marry another woman on his original wife. She falls on him. There's a mitzvah from the Torah to marry or to do chalitza, whatever it is. But we're going to tell you over here that Shimon is able to marry Sarah. Why? Since she falls on him because of her brother, and she has to go ahead and she has to relive her brother's name. So how's she going to do that? By marrying Shimon. And Sarah and Shimon now, once they're going to be married to each other, so now he's going to have Sarah. Once they're going to have a baby, we're going to call that baby Reuven. That's how you're going to have to go ahead and relive his brother's name. Okay? This Rabotai, so whenever we say Yivama, you should understand this is the example. Fine. Moving to an Arusa. What's an Arusa? An ARUSA is like this. An ARUSA is a girl who got not engaged, who got really married. A lot of people have this misunderstanding. Whenever you use the language of an ARUS and a ARUSA, whenever you use the language of an ARUS and an ARUSA, an ARUS is a married boy. An ARUSA is a married girl. But how are they married? In marriage, there's a two-step process. Step number one is called kiddushin. Over here is you have to give her something, but today we give a ring, and we say, right, that you become sanctified to me with this ring, like the law of Moshe and the Jewish people. This is called kiddushin. That's the first stage of marriage. This is why he's called a arus, and she's called an arusa. She's not called a eshet ish. Rabotai, I want to make this clear. She's fully married, meaning she is a married woman, but she's not a regular isha. She's not a fully married woman, okay? There's two steps. Because then you have another step process, which is called nisu'in. Nisu'in is the second process which happens, back then at least it happened, 1 year later after the kiddushin. We would give the husband some time and her some time to go ahead and get ready, prepare the wedding dress, the jewelry, and him would give time to make money in order to be able to play the wedding and pay for everything else, and so on and so forth. So it comes out of here, whenever we're going to use the language of arusa, you have to understand that it's speaking about a girl who's in the first stage of marriage. What is the difference between a girl who's an arusa in the first stage of marriage, or a girl who's an arusa? Well, she doesn't become an arusa, automatically she becomes a isha. What is the difference when a woman becomes from arusa to isha, right? Let's go like this. What is the difference? Very simple. By an arusa, even though she's fully married to him, she is his wife, she's an eshet ish, but since it's only the first step process, he's not allowed to sleep with her. He has to wait until he does nisu'in. No other guy is also allowed to sleep with her. If chas v'shalom somebody sleeps with her, she's an eshet ish. Mama, she's a married woman. It's just in the first stage of marriage. Therefore, if they want to get divorced, he really has to give her a divorce because she's really married to him. Everything applies. But all I want to try to show you over here, that whenever we're going to see the word arusa, understand that we're speaking about the first stage of kiddushin and not the second stage of marriage. It's only going on the first stage. The second stage, you're going to be fully married. Now, how is that going to be different? Now, he's allowed to go ahead and sleep with her. That's if you pay close attention. Oh, by the way, what is nisu'in? Nisu'in, Rabotai, there's many ways what's considered to be nisu'in, but one of the ways is when we do chuppah, when we do the canopy. This is why we have a canopy. We have a canopy on top of us, and when you get married, you have the Sheva Barachot over there. That's nisu'in. That's one of the ways what's called nisu'in. So that's why nowadays, what do? We do the kiddushin and the nisu'in immediately under the canopy. Why? Why do we do everything in one shot? Because we're afraid, number one, we don't want them to mess around with themselves. Even though this is his wife, still he's not allowed to sleep with her. And if they're not far away from each other, there's a high chance they're going to fall. Number two, we don't chas v'shalom want her to fall with another man. Because if she's going to cheat with another man, then she's going to become asur on him. That's why what do we do today? We go ahead and we do kiddushin and nisuin, everything immediately under one canopy. So this way we don't have the problem with her or with him or with her or somebody else, and so on and so forth. All right, so now that we know that an arusa is the first stage of marriage, again, make no mistake that it's not going on engagement. They're not engaged. A lot of times you hear a person say, an arus and an arusa, it means that they got engaged. No. If you got engaged, you could break off your engagement, no problem. You don't like whatever, something happened, you don't like her, he doesn't like you, no problem. Over here, if she doesn't like him, he doesn't like her, Rabotai, it's a divorce. They have to give a get to each other. It's completely different laws, okay? All right, so now that we have that, let's move on to our topic at hand today. Okay. So the Shulchan Aruch, Rabotai, according to the Shulchan Aruch, According to the Shulchan Aruch, when are we going to say that the Cherem Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable? Only if the guy is fully married. There we're going to tell him he's not allowed to take a second woman on top of his wife. But when it comes to Yivama, we're going to allow him, because over there, it's not his choice. It's not by choice. It's by force. Because since, like we explained, since her husband died, she has to relive his name. That's why she has to marry her husband's brother. But we want to focus on this, Rabbot. I want to focus on the Shulchan Aruch when he says, V'chein be'arusa. When the Shulchan Aruch says, and so too by the arusa, just like by the Yivama, you don't have the Cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable, so too by the arusa, the Cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable. That means the arus can go ahead and get married to another girl while he's still married to the arusa. Remember, Rabotai, please remember this. Which stage of marriage? Kiddushin. According to the Shulchan Aruch, the arus is in the first stage of marriage with the arusa. He's allowed to go ahead and he's allowed to get married to a woman even with the second stage, which is nusu'in. No problem. Because the Cherem Rabbeinu Gershom is only applicable to a guy that is marrying another girl on his fully married wife. The two-stage process wife. When he did with her Kiddushin and Nisuyin. But not alone, only Kiddushin. Okay, Rabotai, let's have that in mind. I'm just going to erase this because I need to work with what we have. All right, so let's just go over here. Actually, you know something that we could keep? Let me just erase this. Okay, fine. All right, Rabotai, so let's get back to work now. Now we're going to start beginning. If you guys remember, let me do the Shulchan Aruch one more time with the Ramah, and then we'll get right into it. All right. All right, so one more time. Siman Aleph Halacha Yud. Rabbeinu Gershom hechrim al hanose al ishto. Rabbeinu Gershom made a cherem on one marrying on his wife, on his fully fledged wife. Aval be Yivama, but when you're dealing with the Yivama, lo hechrim. He didn't make a cherem over there. That means to say that the Yavam is able to go ahead and marry the Yivama, like we explained. V'chen and so too be'arusa. What does it mean v'chen and so too? And so to what? And so to the CHEREM of Rabbeinu Gershom does not apply by a ARUSA. Therefore, since it does not apply by the ARUSA, the ARUS is able to go ahead and get married, even fully married with the two-step process, to another woman. Because that's not his fully fledged wife yet. Yes, it's his wife. They're married, but not completely. Okay. Comes the Ramah. Here we go, Rabotai. This is where the whole machlokit comes in. Where did he go? Comes the Ramah. The Ramah is going to tell us right now like this. Haga, right? This is feed the Shulchan Aruch. All this up to now is the Shulchan Aruch. That he holds by the Arusa, there's no Cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom. Comes the Ramah is going to tell us, what? Are you serious? 1 second. Comes the Ramah. Comes the Ramah, and the Ramah says like this. 1 second. Michila. Comes the Ramah and he says like this, Rabotai, and this is where we get stuck. This is where the whole machlokit is in the Ramah. And how does he learn the Shulchan Aruch? Comes the Ramah says, Im eino rotze liknos. When are we going to tell you that the Cherem Gershom, when are we going to tell you that the Cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable by the Arusa, so therefore the Arus is able to go ahead and get married to another girl? That specifically if the Arus does not want to liknos, meaning literally means to enter, meaning to get married. If he doesn't want to get married to her, Eila liftor, but rather he wants to divorce her. Since he wants to divorce her, what are we going to tell you? No problem. You want to divorce her, therefore you're allowed to go ahead and get married to another wife. This is the way the Ramah explains it. That means to say, When is there's no cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom on the arus, that specifically if he wants to divorce her. Rabotai, listen to the language. But what happens if he doesn't want to divorce her? It's implied that the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable in this situation. Right? But if he doesn't, because remember, he's saying if he wants to divorce her, then the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom does not apply. But if he does not want to divorce her, common sense, Rabotai, logic, if he does not want to divorce her, you tell me how do you finish it? Then the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom does apply. That's the way the Ramah wants, and that's the way you could simply understand it in the words. But remember, we had a very big machlok, and I had to learn this Ramah. If you remember the Beis Shmuel, we also did the Tur Zahav on it. Okay. Fine. Now, Rabotai, we're going to see in the Pitchei Teshuvah something very fascinating on how to learn this Ramah how we're going to learn this Ramah, plugging it in to the V'chein Ba'arus. All right, let's see this over here. So I'm going to do the Pitchei Teshuvah in Ot Tetvav, where it says Liknos. If you guys have in the Pitchei Teshuvah in Ot Tetvav, that's 15, where it says Lichnos. If you look into the Ramah in the Shulchan Aruch, he says Im einu retzel liknos, and that's what we're going to focus on. If he doesn't want to marry her, el liftor, but rather he wants to divorce her, then we're going to say v'chein ba'arusa. Then we're going to say in Soto ba'arusa that there's no cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom. That's the ARUSA is able to go ahead and get married to another woman because he wants to eventually divorce her. But if he doesn't want to divorce her, we're going to tell you that the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom, according to the Ramah, cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom, yeshkan. You have the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom over here. If he doesn't want to divorce her, that is the way we're learning it from the Ramah. Okay. Rabotai, I believe, if you guys remember, we did the Beis. I just don't want to go over the Beis Shmuel right now. If you really, really want to look into it, if you look, I believe it was part 6 of the Shi'ur on the Bash. We did it in Siman Aleph and Halacha Yud, part 6. The Tur is Zahav, I believe it was part 7. I wrote over here part 6, part 7, because I know I have to go back to it every time when I'm doing the pieces. But I hope it was part 6 and part 7. And if you just want to go look into the Rabotai, there was a machlok in how to learn the Ramah when he says Im einu retzel liknos elo liftor. What does that mean? But we're going to move on today with the Pitchei Teshuvah and the Bereitav. Fine. So let's do this. Okay. Let's move forward. Let me try to do this. Let me see how it's going to work out. All right. Pitchei Teshuvah in Ot Tetvav Liknos, when it says to get married. He says, Ein Bereitav Tzivkat and Chav Aleph. Right away. I don't do anything yet. The Pitchei Teshuvah says, look into the Bereitav in Siv Kat and Chav Aleph, add until the words Ubeit Hillel Piresh. Right? Until the words where it says Ubeit Hillel Piresh, Ramah Be'inin Ach. And the Beit Hillel explained the Ramah in a completely different way. Now, Rabotai, we're going to go into the Bereitav. We'll do that, Rabotai, but we'll do a little bit more. And then, after we finish the Bereitav, we're going to come back to the Pitchei Teshuvah. All right? Okay, so the Bereitav in Ot Chav Aleph says, Dibra Matchil Liknos, Ken Katav Maharik Shoresh Kuf Aleph, so too the Maharik wrote in Shoresh in the root of 101. Now, I just want to show you something. All right. This is going to be hard. Let's try it. Let's try it anyway. I want you guys to understand it. Let's try it anyway. Okay. Whenever you learn the Shulchan Aruch, Mishnah Berurah, doesn't matter, whatever you're learning, not Mishnah Berurah, I'm saying whenever you learn the Mishnah Berurah in the Shulchan Aruch, you have on top, let me just show you. Right? Whenever you learn the Mishnah Berurah, in the Shulchan Aruch on top, this is the Shulchan Aruch, you have the Ramah in the Shulchan Aruch. Right, this is the Mishnah Berurah. You have on the side Beragola, they tell you who says what. Right, every time they say who says what. Right, even over here sometimes in the parentheses they say who says what. Why am I telling you this? Because over here comes the Behetiv and he tells you like this. Oh, but this is too heavy. Let me see if I could. Alright, let's try this. Over here when it says, when the Behetiv says, Ken katav maharik shorish kuf aleph, so too the maharik wrote in shorish kuf aleph, the Behetiv is telling you that's what the Ramah, that's where the Ramah found the source. If you look over here where it says, Im ein rotzeh liknos ela liftor, if you pay close attention, who is the source? In the parentheses, maharik. Shorish kuf aleph. So that's all the Behetiv is telling you, Rabotai. That the source for the words of the maharik comes from, that the source for what the Ramah says comes from the maharik in Shorish kuf aleph. Right? That's all he's telling you because you have to know, Rabotai, when you're learning, you have to make sure that the Ramah, that's exactly what his kavanah is, and now we're going to build on it. So one more time. So he says like this, Ken katav maharik shorish kuf aleph. So too the maharik wrote that in shorish kuf aleph, that when are we going to tell you that the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable? That's only if he wants to divorce her. Rabotai, again, if he doesn't want to divorce, it's implied, then the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable. Right? One more time. When are we going to tell you that the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable? That's only if he wants to divorce her. But if he doesn't want to divorce her, we're going to say the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable. Alright? That's the way we understand the Ramah. So, one more time. Ken katav maharik shorish kuf aleph. So too the maharik wrote in shorish kuf aleph. Ve'ayin maharik, but now he tells you, look into the maharik. Right? We're staying with him. Shor samich gimel. Shekadav, that he wrote over there. Ve'al inin arusa, in regards to the matter of an arusa. Remember what's an arusa? The girl that got married in only the first stage of marriage. Sheto'enet me'is alai v'chulu. She has a claim on her arus. She says, he's disgusting on me. I can't help it. She's disgusting on me. Not she. He. She, the arusa, says to the bedin, the arus is disgusting on me. What's going to be the law? Etc. He says, look into the matter over there. He says, so one second. In regards to an arusa, that she claims that the arus is disgusting on her. So the maharik over there writes, Lahatir lo ligaresh ba'al korcho. The maharik allows the arus to divorce her against her will. Because remember, we have a cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom that you're not allowed to divorce your wife against her will. Over here, the maharik is going to tell you, I allow you. Or lisa acheret. Oh, one second. He allows the arus to marry another woman. He says, Ein Sham, look over there. Now we have over here a very big problem. What just happened? Just think about the situation for a second. And Arusa made a statement that the arus is disgusting in her eyes. So comes the maharik, and the maharik says, fine. If she says you're disgusting in her eyes, no problem. You want to divorce her against her will? You're allowed to. You want to marry another girl? You're allowed to. Let me ask you, what does it show us right now? That the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable. Yes? The cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable. He continues the debate and he says, Ve'ahi tu shuvad maharik pasak aramak kavate. That response of the maharik, the Ramah also made the same psak like him. B'siman ein zayin si'if bet behaga ein sham. In Siman ein zayin, which is Siman chapter 77 in Halacha bet, look in the Ramah over there. He says, look over there, ein sham. Rabotai, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But I just want to start off something. I want to just show you, because this halacha is pretty long. And if you want to do it, maybe you could do it with your Talmud Chacham, or with your local rabbi. The Shulchan Aruch in Siman Ein Zayin and Halacha Bet speaks about, it's nuts. Ha'isha sheman'a ba'ala mitashmish. If you have a woman that she holds her husband from having relations with her, you know how many cases like this, Rabota, I get phone calls? My wife doesn't want to have relations with me. He hanikret muredet. She's called a rebellious girl, a rebellious wife. Vesho'alinoto, we're going to have to ask her, mipnema marda. Why did you rebel against your husband? Why are you being rebellious? Why are you telling him that you don't want to be with him? Why don't you want to have relations with him? Im amra me'astaihu. If she's going to say he's disgusting, ve'eni yocholal ba'elo midati. I'm not able to have relations with him knowingly. I can't. He's too disgusting in my eyes. I'm skipping out the Ramah. The Shulchan Aruch says, Im rotzeh habal legarsha. If the husband wants to divorce her, ein la kituba klal. She doesn't have to get her ketubah at all. He doesn't have to give her the ketubah at all. Whatever he wrote, the amount. Rabotai, and the Shulchan Aruch goes on to say exactly which situation and so on and so forth. Why did I read this? Because when you continue the Shulchan Aruch, the Ramah says also the same thing. When an ARUSA says that the husband, the arus, is disgusting to me in my eyes, he's going to tell you you're allowed to divorce against her will, or he's allowed to get married to another woman. So we see clearly from over here that there's no CHEREM of Rabbeinu Gershom. But the Behetiv is going to make a small twist. Why did the Maharik, see why it's important to know the names? Why did the Maharik, from where the Ramah got his source from, why did he have to give us a reason to why he's allowed to go ahead and divorce her against her will or marry another girl? Why did he have to say it's because she said he's disgusting? And what happened? If he's not disgusting, it's implied from over here that the CHEREM of Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable. Rabotai, pay close attention. When she has that claim, he is disgusting on me, then we're going to tell that the CHEREM of Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable. Mashma implied from there that if she's going to say, I love him, he's good, he's nice to me, the CHEREM of Rabbeinu Gershom is applicable. That's what we want to see, Rabotai. Comes out from over here that when the Ramah spoke about V'chen, when the Shulchan Aruch said V'chen ba'arusa, and according to Shulchan Aruch, it means En CHEREM Rabbeinu Gershom. By the ARUSA, there's no CHEREM Rabbeinu Gershom. The ARUSA is able to go ahead and get married to another woman. Comes the Ramah is going to tell us, since he took the source from the Maharik, we see clearly from the Maharik, he gives you a reason to why there's no CHEREM Rabbeinu Gershom. Must be, Rabotai, if there's no reason, the CHEREM Rabbeinu Gershom is going to be applicable. So that's why over here when we're learning, Im eino rotzeh liknos ela liftor, specifically if he wants to divorce her, we're going to say that the CHEREM Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable. But if he doesn't want to divorce her, he can't keep both of them. You can't make her life, you can't make the Arusa's life miserable. That you cannot do. That's what the Ramah is coming from. Rabotai, if you guys remember what we did in the Beis Shmuel and the Torah Zahav, Rabotai completely, like two different, wow, it's nuts. It was two different worlds. Anyway, Rabotai, if you guys get a chance, try to do it, you'll appreciate it much more. Okay, so let's go back into the Behetiv. All right. So he says, "V'ahi teshuv maharik pasak Ramah kivatei b'siman ein zayin siv bet behaga ein sham." Says that the response of the Maharik, the Ramah made a pasak halacha like him in Siman 77, what I just began to read for you in halacha bet. Look in the Ramah over there. Mashma, it's implied, the av ba'arusa hitzrich lo heter mitam muredet. It's implied that by the arusa, the reason why he gave him a heter to get remarried, or not to get married to another woman, mitam muredet, from the reason that she is rebellious. She's rebelling. She's saying he's disgusting. I can't be with him. V'lo ka'amr, but he didn't say. But he didn't say that by the ARUSA, Rabbeinu Gershom did not make, one more time. V'lo ka'amr de ba'arusa lo gazar Rabbeinu Gershom klal. But he didn't say by the arusa that the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom was not applicable at all. Why didn't he say that? Why didn't the Maharik say that? Why did the Maharik have to give me the reason to why he's allowed to go ahead and get married to another girl? Is because she's being rebellious. Why didn't he just tell me that there's no cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom on the arusa? That's why he's allowed to get married. Since he didn't say it, we see by the arusa there is the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom. We see there is a cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom. So Rabotai, one more time, Rabotai. Again, the Be'etiv is going to go on to explain venerally. I'm going to leave it for I'll leave it for the following class, B'Ezrat Hashem, because we're going to have to see also all these points. But let's just try to stick with this. Let's try to digest it. It's very important to have the case clear. So one more time. Mashma, it's implied the Av Ba'arusa Hitzrich Lo Heter Mitam Moredet. It's implied from the words of the Maharik that, and also from the words of the Ramah, because he passed like the Maharik in Siman 77 Halacha Bet. It's implied that by the Arusai he needed a heter, he needed a permissible way to allow this guy to go ahead and get married to another girl because she was rebellious. V'lo ka'amar, but he didn't say the ba'arusa lo gazar Rabbeinu Gershom klal. But he didn't say that. But when it comes to an arusa, the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is not applicable at all. Why didn't he say it? Meaning to say that since he gave me the reason, must be there is the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom. It is applicable. That's why the Maharik had to give you a case where the Arus is able to go ahead and get married to another girl that is specific in the situation where she is being rebellious and she says, he's disgusting on me, I can't live with him. Or once you can do that, no problem. Go ahead, the Arus, go get married to another girl. 1 second, why do you have to tell me go get married to another girl? Because of what she just said. And what happens if she didn't say anything? Or she said, no, I love my husband. It's implied from the words of the Maharik that the cherem of Rabbeinu Gershom is still applicable. In any event, Rabotai, will continue from this Be'etiv tomorrow. Have a great day. Baruch Adonai L'Olam.